Forward. We read in the Bible, Genesis 1:29, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit-yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. You will note that the word meat is used to denote human food, not the carcass of dead animals. Arnold Ehret was a student and follower of nature's laws in communion with God. Ehret's teachings have their foundation in truth, but until they are demonstrated, the average individual cannot grasp their significance, and consequently, not until then do they prove acceptable to great majority. Arnold Ehret described and denounced superstition and ignorance, but like similar teachings of great men, his teachings have been grossly misunderstood by the average individual and unjustly criticized by many health teachers. It has now been well over 70 years that his voice was first heard, vainly sounding a note of warning, desperately hoping to dispel the colossal ignorance of the average uninformed individual concerning natural laws. His teachings have opened many new avenues of healing, and his wonderful philosophy and knowledge offered to those willing to accept bring thousands of new converts each year from every part of the globe. Ehret taught that the mind governs all organic action of the physical body instinctively, and we therefore find humankind gradually evolving from the primitive stage to a higher intellectual plane. The physical and mental welfare of millions of individuals living today are desperately searching for a truthful presentation of this knowledge found only in Professor Arnold Ehret's message, and it is therefore eagerly awaited by an expectant world. It is asking too much that you lay aside preconceived ideas, opinions, or prejudices and read the Ehret articles with an open mind. Hopefully the truth will eventually dawn upon you, possibly months after reading, for some portion may have undeniably stamped an imprint on your mind and intuitively proven its correctness. There is no mystery connected with Ehret's mucusless diet theory, though differs almost entirely from other healing systems, especially his lucid explanations. Ehret practiced no deception. His statements are easily understood because of their outstanding simplicity of expression. He continually informs the student, whatsoever is not simple, easily understood, is false and therefore not the truth. Fundamentally, Ehret's teachings of his philosophy are basically the love of nature itself, love of all outdoors, the love of flowers and trees, the love of all the birds and animals. Ehret loved the sunshine and the rain, the cold and the warmth, the bright days and the cloudy days, and he sincerely taught that we must feel justly proud of our own physical bodies, clean both internally and externally. Our love of birds and four-legged animals instinctively warns that we must not harm these fellow creatures, and never kill them for our food. Mother Nature has abundantly supplied us with quantities of delicious, nutritious fruits and vegetables on which we thrive. With a clean bloodstream coursing through our bodies, any thought of cannibalism becomes obnoxious. Arnold Ehret taught tolerance, respect for the rights of others, and acceptance of their rights to their own beliefs. Never attempt to force others to accept your beliefs, but rather through precept and example create a desire on the part of those interested in health to seek this great truth of their own free will. Through your tolerance of ignorance, you will have proven your superiority, and eventually non-believers will see the bright glow of truth. General Introductory Principles. Lesson 1. Every disease, no matter what name it is known by medical science, is constipation. It is a clogging up of the entire pipe system of the human body. Any special symptom is therefore merely an extraordinary local constipation by more accumulated mucus at this particular place. Special accumulation points are the tongue, the stomach, and particularly the entire digestive tract. This last is the real and deeper cause of bowel constipation. The average person has as much as 10 pounds of uneliminated feces in the bowels, continually poisoning the bloodstream in the entire system. Think of it. Every sick person has more or less mucus-clogged system, such mucus being derived from undigested, uneliminated, and unnatural food substances accumulated from childhood on. Details regarding this fact may be learned by reading my Rational Fasting and Regeneration Diet. My mucus theory and mucus diet healing system stand unshaken. It has proven that the most successful compensation action, so-called cure against every kind of disease, by its systemic application, thousands of declared incurable patients could be saved. The mucusless diet consists of all kinds of raw and cooked fruits, starchless vegetables, and cooked or raw, mostly green leaf vegetables. The mucusless diet healing system is a combination of individually advised long or short-term fasts with progressively changing menus of non-mucus forming foods. This diet alone can heal every case of disease without fasting. Although such a cure requires longer time, the system itself will be expounded in later lessons. However, to learn how to apply this system and understand why it works, it is necessary to free your mind of medical errors, partly taken by naturopathy. In other words, I must teach you a new physiology, free from medical errors, a new method of diagnosis, a correction of the fundamental errors of metabolism, high-protein foods, blood circulation, blood composition, and last but not least, you must be taught what vitality really is. To medical science, the human body is still a mystery, especially in disease condition. Every new disease discovered by doctors is a new mystery for them. There are no words to express how far they are away from the truth. Naturopathy used the word vitality continually, yet neither medical scientists nor naturopaths can tell what vitality is. Not only is it necessary to eradicate all these errors from your brain, but to show you the truth in such a new and simple light that you can grasp it at once. This great advantage of simplicity and clarity is one of the fundamental reasons for my success. With all my teachings cover the truth, incidentally, whatever simple reason cannot be grasped is humbug, however scientific it may sound. You will learn how wrong and ignorant it is to believe that any special disease can be healed by eating the right food, living on special menus, or undergoing long fasts, if such is done without experience and without system and special advice for each individual case. Fasting has been known for hundreds of years as compensation against every disease, as nature's only and infallible law, and the same with the mucusless diet. As already stated in Genesis, fruits and herbs and leafy greens. But why did it never come into general use and resultant universal success? This is because it was never used systematically in accordance with the condition of the patient. The average man or woman has not the slightest idea of what the necessary eliminative process is, what time it requires, how and how often their diet must be changed, or what it means to cleanse the body of the terrible quantities of waste that they have accumulated in their bodies during their lives. Disease is an effort of the body to eliminate waste, mucus, and toxemas, and this system assists nature in the most perfect and natural way. Not the disease, but the body is to be healed. It must be cleansed, free from waste and foreign matter, from mucus and toxemas accumulated since childhood. You cannot buy health in a bottle. You cannot heal your body, that is, cleanse your system in a few days. You must make compensation for the wrong you have done your body all during your life. My system is not a cure or remedy. It is a regeneration, a thorough house cleaning, and acquisition of such clean and perfect health as you never knew before. Remember, your constitutional encumbrances throughout the entire system are the source of every disease. the greatest and most harmful source of lowered vitality, imperfect health, lack of strength and endurance, and any and all imperfect conditions. All disease has its source in the colon, never perfectly emptied since birth. Nobody on earth today has an ideally clean body, and therefore perfectly clean blood. What medical science calls normal health is in fact a pathological condition. In summa, the human mechanism is an elastic pipe system. The diet of civilization is never entirely digested nor the resultant waste eliminated. This entire pipe system is slowly constipated, especially at the place of the symptom and the digestive tract. This is the foundation of every disease. To loosen this waste, eliminate it intelligently and carefully, and control its operation can be done perfectly by the Mucusless diet healing system. Many people assume that Ehret is referring only to bowel constipation. However, his use of the word is much broader in scope, referring to constitutional encumbrances on the cellular level that has been obstructing one's organism since birth. Although Ehret does assert that the foundation of cellular constipation is bowel constipation, which is the definite result of eating pus and mucus-forming foods, Ehret's concept of the term extends beyond the bowels. The word mucus is from the Latin mucus, which means slime, mold, snot, etc. Mucus refers to a thick, viscous, slippery discharge that is comprised of dead cells, mucin, inorganic salts, water, and exfoliated cells. It also refers to the slimy, sticky, viscous substance left behind by mucus-forming foods in the body after ingestion. This fact may be hard to believe at first. Later in the book, Ehret will discuss cases where he helped people eliminate a lot more than 10 pounds of fecal matter from the bowels. Also, since the time of Ehret, other naturopaths have observed and documented the elimination of pounds of mucoid plaque, rubber-like strings of rotting mucus found in the intestines, feces, decades-old feces stones, and other toxemias. To look at some compelling pictorial examples of such waste, see Bernard Jensen's Tissue Cleansing Through Bowel Movement. Keep in mind that most of the dietary prescriptions in the book are problematic and I do not recommend using them. However, the real pictures of the kind of internal waste that humans harbor are profound. Mucusless refers to foods that are not mucus-forming. Such foods digest without leaving behind a thick, viscous, slimy substance called mucus. These foods include all kinds of fat-free and starchless fruits and vegetables. The word fruit refers to the ripened ovary or ovaries of a seed-bearing plant, together with accessory parts containing the seed and occurring in a wide variety of forms. Ehret is especially referring to mucusless fruits, fat-free and starchless fruits that leave behind no mucus residue. An unripe banana is an example of a starchy fruit, while an avocado is a fatty one. Green leafy vegetables refers to various mucusless leafy plants or their leaves and stems that may be eaten as vegetables. The word fast means to abstain from the intake of food and drink for a period of time. It may also refer to various forms of dietary restriction, which include abstaining from solid foods, juice, or liquid fasting, mucus-forming foods, mucusless diet, animal products, and so forth. Fasting may also refer to more broadly to abstaining from modern conveniences or unnatural addictions. For example, a fast from electricity or the use of electronics for a period of time. Mucus forming refers to foods that create or leave behind uneliminated mucus in the human body. Such foods include meat, dairy, grains, starches, and fats. Ehret periodically uses the term disease to refer to human illness, yet Ehret suggests that the word is inherently problematic, hence appearing in quotations. With that said, Ehret does not ever purport to treat disease, but to naturally heal human illness through a change in the diet towards mucusless foods, and short-term fasting. Since the initial publication of the mucusless diet, the use of the word disease by non-medical professionals has been vigorously contested. In many countries, people face legal consequences for diagnosing or claiming to cure what the medical profession refers to as disease. To gain insight into the meaning of the word disease, we must consider its etymology, or historical origins. The term disease can be traced back to the early 14th century when it meant discomfort or inconvenience. It derives from the Old French disease meaning lack, want, discomfort, distress, trouble, misfortune, or sickness. Literally des or dis meaning without a way, and ease or ease meaning comfort, pleasure, or well-being. The word was first used in literal sense in the early part of the 17th century. Ehret uses the term disease in its original sense, which refers to a distressing or uncomfortable condition of the body. Yet he identifies the express purpose of the condition to be an effort of the body to eliminate waste, mucus, and toxemias. This is a significant definition of disease because it is one of the most foundational concepts for the mucusless diet, that we eat for the purpose of cleansing and not to obtain nutritional substance. Yet in subsequent lessons, Ehret does critique the medical notion of disease and shows how a mucusless diet expert can interpret and use medical diagnosis to determine what type of transition diet and fasting protocols to suggest to their patients. The term naturopathy was coined in 1895 by John Scheele and made famous in the United States by one of Ehret's students named Benedict Lust, who founded the first school of naturopathy in 1902. Naturopathic medicine favors a holistic and drugless approach to healing and seeks to find the least invasive measure necessary to relieve symptoms and heal human illness. Natural hygiene, or oropathy, is a healing philosophy derived from naturopathy and advocates plant-based diets and periods of intermittent fasting. Although many prominent naturopaths and natural hygienic practitioners were and continue to be greatly influenced by Ehret's work, their healing practices and philosophies about nutrition usually greatly different from Ehret's. Science comes from Latin scientia, meaning knowledge. The term refers to a systematic enterprise that builds and organizes knowledge in the form of testable explanations and predictions about the universe. Also, it may be identified to be the methodical study of structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experimentation. Medical science refers to an institution specializing in the treatment of disease. The term system in this sense refers to a set of principles or procedures according to which something is done, and or organized scheme or method. It is important to remember that the mucusless diet is a systematic approach to eating. It is important not to become overzealous and rush through or skip over aspects of the systematic transition discussed through the book. In Genesis 1:29, the voice of God tells Adam and Eve that their diet should consist of fruit. Although there are many different translations of the verse, they all have a similar meaning that suggests the first humans were at best fruitarians, or at worst raw mucusless fruit and vegetable eaters. One common variation is from the Vulgate, which is a late 14th century Latin translation of the Bible. And God said, "Behold, I have given you every herb, plant bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food, or meat." According to this verse, the fruit of a tree yielding seed, as well as the seeded fruit from the herb, are to be the food of humans. Such foods perfectly situate humans into the circle of plant and animal life on this planet. In theory, when humans living in the nature eat fruit, They either consume its seed or discard them onto fertile ground. Seeds that were eaten would eventually return to the earth following a bowel movement. The seed then have the potential to germinate and produce a new tree or plant which will grow more fruit. Humans cannot eat processed dead or animal flesh and hope to directly produce more packaged foods or living animals. Genesis 1:29 is the second utterance from God to humans. The first is in Genesis 1:28. And God blessed them, and God said to them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Vulgate translation. It must be pointed out that humans were to have dominion over animals, but not to eat them. In fact, animals did not even have the right to eat other animals in Eden. Genesis 1:30 states, And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, food. And it was so. Vulgate translation. This would suggest that the first animals were inherently herbivores when not fully fruitarian. I point this out because many readers have interpreted herbs in Genesis 1:29 to signify that humans are also inherently vegetable eaters. My interpretation is that humans are to have the fruit from the herbs plants. Thus, a grapevine is an herb that produces seed-bearing fruit. We need not eat the vine or its leaves, but the grapes that are produced from it. With that said, Genesis 1:29 and 1:30 together. Many spiritual and religious philosophies have suggested that superior humans are fruit eaters and frequent fasters. Christianity, Judaism, Jainism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, Islam, ancient Egyptian mystery schools, and more all have strong fasting traditions, and many propagate various forms of degrees of fruit dieting. Ehret, a student of world culture and religion, took note of this fact and would periodically invoke Genesis 1:29 and discuss various fasting traditions in his teachings.